Welcome again to today's presentation. My name is Joseline Nicholas, as you can see at the bottom. I'm a realtor in this region, so I am serving clients in Kitchener-Waterloo and Guelph area. I live in the area as well. Some people who are looking to buy in the rural, so if you're looking to be in Wellington County in general, or you want to be in Waterloo region in general, that is also something we can look at. But today we'll be addressing some of the big cities like Guelph, Kitchener-Waterloo, Cambridge. However, the data that I'm presenting today also applies to the townships. So if you want to be in a township, that is something that we can also talk about. I started in real estate as an investor. So I've been investing in real estate for the last 7 years. And I've been working and I own properties myself in Hamilton, Guelph and Kitchener-Waterloo area. If I was to pick a superpower, it would definitely be in building wealth through real estate. I like to say this because I've seen what it's done for my clients. I've seen what it's done for me. So if people here on the webinar, they've never heard of real estate investing, or they are interested in learning more about real estate investing, that is also something that we can talk about. That's not the topic of this conversation today, but if you wanted to learn more about real estate investing, that is also something that we can talk about. Alrighty, so today we'll be looking at a quick market update. We'll look at interest rates, where they are. We'll look at affordability, home prices in this area. We'll look at demographics, population, as well as income. We'll look at the top employers in this area. We'll look at the top neighborhoods in Waterloo and Wellington counties. We'll also look at the top schools in this region. We'll look at universities that are here, and we'll look at transportation options. If you're commuting to GTA, what is it that you should keep in mind? We'll also look at some of the ways you could be searching for homes. There's a personalized way that you can start searching for homes, and it can kind of save you time because you're able to basically put a criteria that's very specific to you and ignore everything else that doesn't meet that criteria. So the fun part, the numbers. For those who know, I have an economics background, so numbers are my favorite thing to look at because numbers don't lie, and it's true. So right now in Canada, you probably already know, because this has been the talk of our economy, the fact that inflation has gone up so high to the point where the Bank of Canada had to intervene and do something about it. So at the peak, we were at about 8% inflation per year. And it's gone down since they started raising rates. And right now we're sitting at 2.8%. Now, what is interesting is that I've been watching the data, I've been listening to what the Bank of Canada has been saying all along. And what's exciting actually is that what we have right now, 2.8%, is consistent with what they were predicting and what they were hoping for a year ago. So a year ago, they were hoping that we would be around 3% by mid-2023. And right now we're at 2.8, which is, past mid-2023, which makes sense. I know they had to come in and intervene in the last few months. But what is exciting, I guess, is that it looks like we are on target. We are on track to hit that 2% by early of 2024. So that is what they want to see. And they've said that if they continue to see that inflation is cooling down and that what's happening in the market predicts, what they're looking to see, the number they're aiming for is 2% per annum. Once we get there, they've said that they will start to reduce interest rates. Right now, interest rates are the highest they've been in over 20 years. And I don't know if you can see this graph, but you can see right now that we are at 5% overnight rate for the rate at which banks are borrowing from the Bank of Canada. This is the highest we've had in the last 25 years. And the graph you're seeing here is for the last 10 years. And one of the reasons why I like to show this graph is to answer a question that a lot of people also ask, is a question of variable interest rate versus fixed interest rate. As you can see, this is the highest rate we've had in the last 20 years. What I like to say when I get to this slide with my clients is, I want you to understand that if you're locking in, or if you're taking a 5-year term, you're locking in at the highest rate in the last 20 years. So you're not getting a deal if you're getting a 5-year term. I know right now a lot of people are getting like 5.5, even up to 6% interest. If you're locking in for 5 years, you're literally paying the highest rate we've seen for the next 5 years. So when I get to this slide, I tell my clients, it's up to you what you want to choose, but I wouldn't lock in for 5 years. Now, sometimes there are situations where the mortgage broker has to recommend a 5-year term, but that is something that I want you to know, to be aware as you're making that decision, that you are locking in at the highest rate we've had, and you're going to be paying those interest rates for the next 5 years. And 5 years is a long time. Look at how much has changed in the last 5 years. If we were to look back to, let's say, 2019 or even 2018, you'll see that so much has changed. Rates have gone up and down, up until to where we are right now. So I would say 5 years is a long term. Maybe if you have to lock in at a higher term, look at 3 years, right? And they've said that rates will likely come down if they see that the economy is cooling down. And due to this, we've seen that activity right now is slowing down. Now, this is a good thing for people who are looking to buy, because right now we're talking about buying a home. What has happened in our market, let me go to the next slide. What has happened in our market is that prices were high, in the last couple of years that we've had. Prices have always been going up, but the peak was somewhere in 2021. And then in 2022, when they started raising rates, prices started coming down. So what we've been witnessing in the last year or so is prices going down over time. And what you can see here, I want you to note this point sometime at the beginning of this year when prices started going back again. And this was around January. January was the first time when we saw a positive, like prices going up as compared to the previous month. So since January, prices have been going up a little bit up until, I'd say, end of June. And now July and August is pointing downwards, but that is a good thing. That is due to two reasons. One, we know that the Bank of Canada had paused their rate hikes, but they started again in the last couple of months. So that is being reflected right now here, because a lot more people are becoming fearful again and being more reserved. But another point too is because of seasonality. I've been in this industry for a couple of years, and I know that sometime in August, every single year, August will be a quieter month. The reason for that is because people go away. It's not just August, July is like that too, but August is definitely very quiet. Right now is the time to be finding deals. For my clients who are looking to buy, I've been able to go out there and find incredible deals for properties that you're looking at right now. I want you to know that you don't have to pay the listing price in this market as of August, July and August. And that is beneficial because that was not the case 6 weeks ago. Looking into May and June, even April, bidding competitions were coming back. I had properties where my clients were offering and getting 10 other offers. That was the situation around this time when prices were going up, but we're not seeing that this summer. Right now, as we're speaking, we're having a situation where we're actually having to give less than what the asking price is. For people who are looking to buy and sell, this is also a unique time, because this is exactly what I did in the last 6 months. I sold my home and moved. I was just telling you that I moved, but this is a good time to be able to buy something while prices are a little bit lower and sell when the market picks up. Usually, historically, we see that prices start to pick up again in September and October because everybody comes back from vacation. Agents are active again, buyers and sellers are active again, so prices usually pick up. If you're a numbers person, if you want to see data to prove this, I can show you, but this is definitely something that we're seeing. There's a seasonality factor. For my clients who are looking to list homes, I'm having to tell them to wait a little bit. Wait for September, because if you go to market the last week of August, you're just collecting days on market, you're not going to sell. That is a good thing for a seller to wait into September, but for a buyer, this is the time to pick up a deal because everybody else is away. But the smart agents are working, because this is the time to definitely find deals. So as I was saying, for somebody who's looking to buy and sell, you can definitely buy something right now when the market is struggling and give a longer closing and sell in October. I did that. I bought something in March, mid-March, At that time, the market was still struggling, you know. So I was able to find something and give 200,000 under the asking price. And I was able to get it. And I sold my home in May when the spring market was, you know, starting to be more active. So my home sold in May, but I bought in March. It's only a 2-month difference. And I closed my home at the end of June. So I was able to get a long closing, at least 4-month closing. And that is one way to, you know, be able to outsmart the market. I'm not a big believer of timing the market because it's not easy. And in most cases, it's more like a gamble. However, sometimes, you know, things align and you understand the data and you're looking at the trend, you know what you're doing. It's not gambling anymore. It's a calculated move. So for some of my clients who are looking to buy and sell, this has been the strategy that we're looking at. You know, we're looking at buying when the market is struggling because we know the market struggles around the summer because everybody is away. And of course, holding off and selling sometime around September and October and getting a long closing. So that is something that I wanted to talk about, especially because you're here. I'd like to add value to your lives. I respect that you spend time to attend this webinar. If there's one thing to take away is that right now there's a window of opportunity where people are paying less than the asking price in most situations. So right now where we are, statistically, we've seen a 2% increase year over year for Ontario in general. So if you look at prices a year ago, you'll see that we've had a 2% appreciation. If you look at the city of Guelph in particular, we've had a 9% increase year over year just for the city of Guelph. And if you're looking at Waterloo region, we've seen a 6.4% increase year over year. What does this mean? This means even though the market is struggling, prices are still kind of going up. Somebody who bought last year in Guelph has had a 9% appreciation. This is good news for those who are, you know, buying. I know it's a challenging time, challenging situation, but for those who are looking to buy, I would say don't wait. Don't wait. And I'm not trying to create urgency or trying to, you know, say move or create fear. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just using data to say, I see a lot of the times where people have reasons why they're waiting, but when you're looking at the data, by waiting, you're losing out. So that's just something that I wanted to put out there. Right now, the average price of a home in Guelph is around $789,000. And the average price of a home is $750,000 in Waterloo region. That being said, when we're out there, we don't even, you know, we are aware of what the numbers say, but when I'm working with my clients, I'm always looking to get them deals that are better than what the data is saying. So that is something that we could always do. It's not always guaranteed, but you know, we work hard to make sure that we get a home run for our clients. So what I'm predicting right now and what we will likely see, if there's no other rate hikes in the pipeline, which is another question that I'm getting a lot, will we see another rate hike? The truth is, nobody knows, but I think based on the data that I've seen, it's less likely that they will increase rates again. Even if they do, it might just be once. So 1.25 rate hike, just to cool the market a little further. But right now with the data that we've seen, I don't know if you've been watching the news, we saw that the unemployment rate has gone up. Those are things that the Bank of Canada is looking for the unemployment rate to be a little bit higher than what it is now. They're looking at job losses. We saw that some of the construction industry is losing jobs. And in most cases, the construction industry doesn't lose jobs. So it's an indicator that the market is definitely getting softer. The economy is getting softer. And, you know, even if you look at our inflation is, you know, 2.8%. That is also a good indication that maybe things are moving in the right direction. So based on what we see, like data-wise, I don't expect a lot more hikes. And if that happens, we'll see that prices will definitely start to go up again. Because the moment they paused rate hikes, you see what happened. Prices started going up. What's happening right now is that there's a lot of people who are waiting to do something. You know, maybe they want to move. They've been waiting for the last 2 years. They want to change schools, change location, get closer or stop commuting, something like that. But they've been waiting for 2 years. So we're seeing that people are getting to a point where they can't wait any longer. So they're just having to come back. As soon as conditions get better, or there's a signal that the Bank of Canada is reducing the rate hikes or that rates will go down, prices will go back up. So if you're a buyer, I'd say you're probably better off buying sooner than later. And again, as I said, I don't believe in creating fear and pushing people to make decisions they're not ready to make. I'm just using data to show you that in most cases as a buyer, you have a better chance of getting a deal right now than you are if you wait a little longer. I think I saw a hand up. If you have a question, I would prefer that you type it in the chat box, because I have a team that's helping me and supporting me in answering some of those questions or sending them to me via phone. So if you see me look on my screen, it's because I'm just trying to see the questions that are coming in. So instead of raising your hand, I would prefer that you type in the question and we'll get to it in a moment. Alrighty, moving on. So this graph shows the number of homes on market, the inventory that we have. This graph is for Waterloo region, but the picture is about the same for all of Ontario. You know, of course, there's some slight variations, but what I wanted to show you is, you know, the talk that people have been talking, oh, you know, the market is crashing. We have a lot of homes on market. One thing that's exciting and interesting is that right now, as you can see, we have a total of 1,108 homes in Waterloo region. And this is higher than what we're used to. So in the time of COVID, during 2020 and 2021, we had very few homes on market, which is why the prices were shooting up. It was so much harder to find a home for people who are looking. The good news for buyers right now is that, as you can see, we have more options than we had in the last few years. So if in the last few years, you were looking for something very specific and you couldn't find it, you have a higher likelihood of finding that home today. Another thing that I also want to bring to your attention is that if you look at the amount of inventory that we're used to in Ontario, we're still lower than what our normal used to be in 2016, 2018, 2014. Like back in the day, we used to have, just for Waterloo region, imagine 2,500 homes on market for this region, you know, at that time. That is not the case today. So when people are saying the market is crashing, all this negative news you're seeing, I'd say it's not true. The data doesn't show us that. The data is showing that, yes, we have more homes than we've had in the last 2 years, 3 years, but this is kind of like our new normal. And our new normal is still lower than what we're used to, having lots and lots of homes on the market as we've had in the, you know, anywhere prior to 2016. So I'd say for buyers, this is good news because you have more options, but also it's good news because you know that by buying a home, the likelihood of your home appreciating is higher because there's fewer homes as compared to what we had historically. Alrighty, so when we look at Guelph, because the city of Guelph is a little bit smaller, we only have 274 homes on market. Alrighty, so looking at incomes for this region, we have slightly higher income than the national average. So if you're looking at Waterloo region, as well as Wellington County, so Wellington County is Guelph, we have Guelph, Rockwood, and the other townships around it. So you will see that our income in this area is slightly higher than what the Ontario income is, as well as that of Canada. So that is a good thing, you know, it shows that our region, I guess, economically is progressing. And when we look at our population growth, you'll see, and this data is for 2021. We don't know what the updated numbers are for 2023, but based on the data that I've seen, our economy, like the Canadian population, grows by about 1 million people every year. So right now we've hit 40 million people in Canada. So I think I'm gonna try and dig and find updated numbers, but according to this, which is the data that was conducted in 2021, the population is going up. One thing I want to show here is that the two regions, Waterloo region and Wellington County, they are growing much faster than Ontario and Canada, which means of all the people that are coming to Canada, majority of them, we have a higher population growth in these two counties. Majority of them end up in Ontario. right? And then those who end up in Ontario end up in Southern Ontario, and Southern Ontario being mostly GTA, and us being so close to GTA, I think once we see the updated numbers, I think that our population growth would definitely be much higher. Why am I showing this data? Is because if we continue growing at that 1 million people per year, 30 years from now, our population is likely to be somewhere around 70 million. All those people need a place to live, right? So that's why sometimes I also think about investing in real estate as a method to build wealth. People will always need a place to live. And if our population is set to double in the next 30 to 40 years, holding land is definitely something that is beneficial for those who are looking at the numbers and looking at the possibility of their home appreciating. One thing that I also like to say, I guess, on that point, I'm going to go backwards a little bit. You'll see here on this graph that even though there are fluctuations in the market, there are ups and downs in our market, you'll see that the general trend is upward. So for somebody who bought a home in 2010, the value of their home has at least tripled over time. So the reason I'm saying this is you might be thinking that, buying a home right now, it's a little scary time, the market is unstable. But when I'm buying homes, I'm looking at a long-term trend. And when I look at people who are also looking, to buy, those who are successful investors, I know that some people here are not investors, but if you're looking at the financial benefit of buying a property right now, the answer is the trend is always upwards. Yes, we have fluctuations, and sometimes we have situations. This was 2017, where the market went up very quickly and it dropped. So the bubble, so to speak, was eliminated. After that, the trend was, moderately upward, but not as fast as it had done in 2017. We see a similar thing actually here in 2020 and 2021, where prices went up so fast and then they dropped as fast, and that bubble was eliminated. So what we're thinking right now, for those who've been waiting for the market to correct, and for those who are waiting for the bubble to burst, that is behind us now. And the only way we know that that is behind us is because the data says so. We can see right now that this bubble that was there for 2020 and 2021 has been eliminated. And right now we'll expect a moderate, appreciation over time, one that is not too high but not zero either. So that is definitely what we're expecting to see, because that bubble that we talked about is already gone. Okay. Alrighty, coming back to crime rate. This data is very old, but this is the best I could find. I'm gonna try and dig more and see what I could find. So you'll see that it's almost gonna be 10 years. But what's interesting here is that Kitchener-Waterloo, Cambridge, which is Waterloo region and our region all together, the crime rate here is lower than that of the national average. So if you look at our county, it's safer than most of Canada on average. So, and we don't have the data here for Wellington County, but usually with the data that I've seen in the past, Wellington County is also safer, is as safe, if not safer, than Waterloo region. So this is something that's good, especially for those who are looking for a place to live. You want to know that you're living in a safe community. According to the data, we're definitely safer than the majority of Canada. Alrighty, so who are the top employers in this region? The top industries in the area, we have manufacturing. We have some industries, those who are looking to get in that industry, definitely the jobs will be there. These are the top employers. We have the education, we have the universities and schools. So that's another one of our industries. We have the insurance, financial services, which is like Manulife and Sun Life in Waterloo region. We have healthcare. We have a few hospitals here and other healthcare related employers. And we have government services. That's one of the reasons why I moved here, because I used to work for the government of Ontario. So we definitely do have the Ontario Ministry of Agriculture is here in Guelph. And I know there are other employers, government services in the different cities as well. And then we have technology, AI. This is mostly in Waterloo region. If anybody is looking to learn more about tech and technology and either being self-employed or looking for incubators, let me know, because I also used to work for the region of Waterloo, and we used to work with companies that are coming here for technology. So that is also something that I can connect you with the right people or the right incubators for that industry. And then, of course, we have retail. So these are our top employers. And I would say that living here and having experience, I actually used to live in Waterloo and now I live in Guelph. I definitely would say that it's not that difficult to get a job. I can't compare it to GTA, of course, but if you're coming from a place like, outside the GTA, I think that you'll be happy here. Some more of the top employers, I guess, continue on that slide. We have the 4 urban cores of somebody who's looking to be in downtown or to be close to the city. The biggest cities are Guelph, Cambridge, Kitchener, and Waterloo. We have the Innovation District in Waterloo, as I was saying, and we have the Accelerator Center. And these are all with people who are looking to be in the tech industry. We have the Technology Park and the Research Center. We have Communitech, Velocity, and we have other key businesses situated here. We have Google, we have Shopify and OpenText. And we also have shopping centers that are employing people in the different industries like retail, design, things like that. Alrighty, so for transportation, for those who are looking to commute to GTA, that is also an option. Sometimes I have people who are attending from other countries. Kitchener-Waterloo Guelph is about 45 minutes to an hour to Toronto, depending on where you're going in Toronto. Right now, we have a light rail transit in Kitchener-Waterloo. I think they're also working on extending that line to Cambridge. So definitely public transportation is there. We have a local bus network that is frequent. I think in most areas it's going to be every 15 minutes. And then in the more rural locations, it's going to be every 30 minutes, there's a bus. And we have 9 daily trains to Toronto, and we have 30 daily buses to Toronto. And this is from Waterloo region. And the train that goes to Waterloo region goes through Guelph. So if you lived in Guelph, there's a station as well. If you're overall in Waterloo region, there's a station in Acton, and there's another station. So there's a station in Kitchener, Guelph, Acton, and I think then you go into Milton. But I've worked with clients who commute to Toronto on a regular basis. Some of them go like twice a week, some of them even every day. This is something that they're able to navigate, and there's a train every 30 minutes that goes to Toronto from Kitchener-Waterloo and Guelph as well. The average commute time for those who are local is about 22 minutes. And I already said that there's a possibility of extending the highways and LRT in this area. So this is just a graph showing where the cities are located and their distance to 401. Cambridge is the closest to 401. Depending on where you are in Kitchener, you might also be close to the 401. Guelph is a little bit more north, but there are also Guelph neighborhoods that are close to the 401. So if you were looking to commute to Toronto on a regular basis, we would definitely look in some of these neighborhoods that are close to the 401. Some of the neighborhoods that I'll be talking to today are located very close to the 401. So we could talk about that. Alrighty, and this is the bus showing from Kitchener. It goes through Guelph, and then it goes through Rockwood, and then it goes all the way to Toronto. And it takes about an hour, 15 minutes, and there's a bus, and there's a train. This is actually a train. There's a train every 30 minutes. Okay, this is the LRT, the light rail transit in Waterloo region. No, wait a minute. So the purple is the LRT, and the green is the GO train. that goes to Guelph and continues all the way to Toronto. But the purple line, that is the LRT that goes from Waterloo to Kitchener. There are plans to extend it to Cambridge, but I don't know when that would be. I think I skipped. Okay, so some of the top neighborhoods, and this is just purely based on popularity, because when I'm working with a client, I understand that their needs are very specific, and the best neighborhood will depend on what your top priorities are. Some people are looking for the best schools. If you're looking for the best schools, your best neighborhood is going to look different from somebody who's just looking to be close to the 401. However, based on popularity, these are the top neighborhoods in this region. So in Guelph, we have Pine Ridge, Westminster Woods, we have the Hannon Creek, and we have Corbray West. I lived in this neighborhood. I moved, I don't live there anymore, but I definitely have lived in 2 of these neighborhoods, and they were great. They're also like the top popular schools. They have pros and cons, right? When I say that, people ask what pros and cons. I think that Pine Ridge and Westminster Woods is the south end of Guelph. It's very new and it's nice and beautiful, very close to the highways. However, the disadvantage of living there is that most homes are subdivisions, so you're going to have a smaller lot. So if you're somebody who's looking for a bigger lot, mature trees, it will not be so easy to find that in the south end. You might have to look in the east end or something else. Again, as I said, it really depends on what you're looking for. For Waterloo region, the top 2 neighborhoods are Beechwood and Lorewood. For Kitchener, you're looking at Dune South, Huron, or Chicopee. These are great neighborhoods, and Dune South is right on the 401. For those who are looking to also be close to Conestoga College, that is where you have to be, like in Dune South, if you're commuting to Conestoga, or if you want to be close to the 401. For Cambridge, you're looking at Hespeler and you're looking at Silver Heights. Hespeler is also very close to the 401. In fact, for people who are looking to commute, Hespeler is probably the closest to Toronto because it's literally right there. You just jump on the 401 and you go to Toronto. Alrighty, so some of the top schools, again, this also is based on popularity, which ones are the most popular, and it's not based on a particular situation. The reason I'm saying that is because even though I'm aware of all these good, amazing schools, my kids don't go to these schools. Why? Because I was looking for something specific than what they have here. However, if you're looking at just popularity, these are the schools that are very popular here. One thing that I feel is unique for this region is that we have a variety of schools. So if you're looking for private school or public school, Catholic school, or just, even specialized schools, we have all those. The key here is for, and we also have, some parents have come to me and they want to be in specific schools that have the IBM program. Those are all things that if you're looking for such a program, then we would sit down and we'll look at a neighborhood that has such a school. In most cases, some people are looking for French schools, French immersion, all that. We have a variety of schools for sure, such that depending on whatever you're looking for, we can definitely find you a home in a good neighborhood. Alrighty, so some of the top universities in this region, we have 3 universities and 1 college. Those are University of Waterloo, we have the University of Guelph, and we have Wilfrid Laurier University. Within an hour drive, we also have McMaster University. And of course, then we also go to Toronto, University of Toronto and all that. For parents who are looking to relocate here, for their kids to be in these universities, that is also something that some of my clients have done. And I have clients who've moved here from other countries and they have their kids in U of T or other universities around. One thing for sure that we've seen lately with these universities is that they're increasing their student intake. Therefore, student housing is also one of those things that's hard to find right now. I say this for people who are looking to invest. We see that, student rental is one of the things that people have invested in and it's very profitable. For people who just want to buy a home in a good neighborhood and live and enjoy, I say this because I'm conveying that, once you buy a home here, the value will be there because it's a university town and the demand for housing will always be there. Alrighty, so if you're looking to move and you don't know where to start, this is my recommendation of the process that you would follow to get your home in this area. And I include this slide particularly because I realize that some people here are first-time home buyers. And if you're a first-time home buyer, I could definitely go more in details. Just let me know, let's connect. And I love guiding people to home ownership because somebody did that for me once, a few years ago, and it changed my life. So if there's any way I can add value to your home buying process, please let me know, and I'll be happy to do so. So the first thing that I'm usually talking to clients if they're looking to buy a home is, timeline. When would you like to move? And then we'll confirm some of those things. Next, we have to look at a pre-approval. We have to look at your finances and the budget. The market has changed so much, such that if you have a pre-approval from a year ago, things are going to look so much different now, especially with rates having gone up and the criteria for pre-approval has changed. So definitely we want to know what the budget is before we go shopping. So that's why we connect you with a good mortgage broker. If you don't have a mortgage broker connection, we do have that. We have people that we rely on that are very reliable and professional that we can connect you with to get you on a path. And when I'm saying this, you don't necessarily have to be ready to buy, but the fact that you're interested and you want to know more, you want to know what it will take. Even if you're like 5 years out, I would say connect with a mortgage broker, learn more about how you can get ready to purchase something, let's say in 5 years. And I've had clients who've been on a plan or on a program, so to speak, to get their credit score ready, to get their, saving for their down payment, all the different things that you have to put in place before you're ready. So that's definitely step number 2, to look at your budget, to look at your finances. And once you have your finances in order, then you would reach out to me, or you would, if you're working with a different broker for a consultation, you could also reach out to another realtor that you rely on. Not the only realtor in the market. However, if you come to me, definitely, I'll do my very best to guide you. But there are also other good agents in the market. If you have one, or if you're not in Ontario, or if you're not in this region, but you're still interested to buy, I would recommend that you vet your agents before you work with them. You're looking for experience. You're looking at how many transactions they're doing a year. You want to know that this person is qualified to negotiate on your behalf. If you are an investor, I would say you also want to know that this person understands the mindset of an investor. Because if you show up and you want to buy an investment property, but this person doesn't understand how the numbers work, they can't run your numbers, they can't negotiate on your behalf, then you're working with the wrong agent. Definitely do your due diligence and find the right professional to work with. Next step is to do your home search, of course. Sometimes people, when they're thinking about searching for a home, they're thinking about looking on the market. Yes, that is one avenue, but how about working with a realtor who's able to give you properties that are not listed on the market, or being more creative to find you the best possible deal on the market. So that is also something that you have to be looking at. Right now, with the way the market is, we definitely are able to do more due diligence than we were doing a year ago or 2 years ago when the market was super hot. Now we're having to definitely dig deeper so that before you buy this home, before you commit to the home, you fully understand what you're getting into. I've had clients in the past who didn't have the opportunity to do due diligence. We still did it because for example, instead of doing inspection after the offer, we would do inspection before the offer, just to make sure that we've done our due diligence. So the market will dictate how you do your due diligence, but it's very, very important. When it comes to due diligence, I also say, please, please, please take responsibility for this step. If you work with a good agent, they will guide you and they will show you, they'll be very honest, but not everybody is like that. I've had clients who bought things that they shouldn't have bought. Why? Because they trusted somebody else to do the due diligence for them. Yeah, that's not good. So when I get to this step, I say, make sure you understand what's happening. Make sure you're happy with the step, every single thing that's happening. And I guess, as I said, work with somebody you trust, work with somebody who they have your best interest at heart. And when it comes to due diligence, always make sure that you've done your inspection, especially in this market where we can even get like 2 weeks of conditions. So take the 2 weeks to do your due diligence. Sometimes if we don't need the 2 weeks, we'll do 1 week, but even 7 days, that is a lot of time to learn everything you can about the home. You can even go back for a second visit, because when we're doing showings, we usually have about a 30-minute window. That 30-minute window, you've seen that you like the house, but you need to go back before you spend your $1 million, right? It's a $1 million decision. So on the due diligence part, make sure you've done all your due diligence before you spend your $1 million. So once you do your due diligence, you know that you like the home, then the next step is definitely to negotiate. And that's why I was saying when you're negotiating in this market, we're able to get away with so much more than we were months ago. If you're a seller and you're this webinar, don't be concerned, right? I know that right now buyers are getting better deals than they were getting a few years ago, but that's why you need a good realtor who's, as a seller, somebody who can defend you. As a buyer, you need somebody on the offense, somebody who knows what they're doing, who's going to go out there and get you the best deal. Alrighty, so that is my presentation today. If there's any questions, please put them in the chat box. I do have a list of questions that came in ahead of time, but I also see here that we have some questions. And I will start with this question that's here live, and then I'll dive deeper into the questions that were submitted ahead of time. The question that we have right now is, what is the Guelph Waterloo region outlook for property conversion deals, duplexes being converted into, I see like duplex conversion. Are there opportunities for project in this nature? Again, okay. So this is a question for somebody who's looking to get into this region and doing duplex conversions. Those are great deals. In fact, sometimes I'm even doing this myself, doing duplex and triplex conversions. For those who don't know, this is a position where you get a property that is a single family home and you convert it into a duplex, or you convert it into a triplex. I've even seen a situation where someone buys a single family home, converts it into a 4-unit property. So this is something that you can definitely do. And the city of Guelph, as well as the region of Waterloo, they're very, they've relaxed their, I shouldn't say they've relaxed their criteria, but it's definitely much easier to do that now and to do it legally. Everything that we do it legally. So you go to the city, you get your permits. And then of course you start the job, you get inspections along the way. It used to be much harder, I'd say 5 years ago, than it is now. I think now they know that we need housing, we need to create additional housing, and they want higher density in the cities. So I've even had clients who will buy this bungalow that has a big lot, and they will duplex convert the bungalow into 2 units, and then they'll build like an ADU, accessory dwelling unit, in the back, and they end up with 3 units. Actually, we did a webinar last month about accessory dwelling units as a way to create additional living spaces on a lot. And now in Ontario, it's definitely much easier to do than it was, I'd say 5 years ago when we started. So yeah, this is something that's being done here. And this is something that I can guide you on. I can help you find a deal, make sure that the deal fits the criteria of a home that is convertible. Not every home is convertible. So we definitely have to look at what needs to be done and find you the property. So yeah, this is being done. We've been doing it here for the last, I'd say 7 years here in this region. Alrighty, so I'll just go into my phone to look at all the questions that are coming in. Alrighty, so in the last 5 to 7 years, how has the Guelph Kitchener-Waterloo market behaved? So if you're looking at the data of how we've performed in the last 5 to 7 years, prices have at least doubled in this region. Let me go back to the graph that I showed earlier. Okay. So our prices in Waterloo region, as well as if you bought a home, and I can give an example because I remember very well. I bought a house in Waterloo in 2016. And I recently sold it for, I think, twice what I paid for before. So prices have definitely more than doubled in this area. But if you look at a graph, we're able to get a better picture. So looking at this graph, 5 years ago would have been 2018. So you can see the average price was just under 400, maybe even around maybe 475, no, 375. And now look, we're talking about above 700. So definitely for the average property, it's doubled in value in the last 5 years. If we're looking at 7 years, the numbers get even better. So if we look at 7 years, we're looking at 2014. The average home in this region, can you believe that the average home in Ontario, this data is for Ontario, the average home in Ontario in 2014 was below 300,000. Like when I look at the numbers, I'm just like, wow, like this is incredible. So the average price of a home in 2014 was somewhere around 275. And now we're talking 700, 750, you know? So, and this is all homes, including condos and townhouses and detached. But if we look at detached homes specifically, we'll definitely see that they've gone up faster than all the other ones. Okay, we have another question here. Alrighty, so the next question is, give me 1 second while I pull them all up. Okay, are homes going through multiple bidding right now? That's a good question. So we saw multiple offer competition in the last, I'd say 12 to 8 weeks. So anywhere up to mid-June, maybe even up to the end of June, we were having bidding competitions. But right now in July and August, we're seeing fewer and fewer competitions. The only case that we're having bidding competitions is if the property is way underlisted. We're still seeing a situation where a property is worth, let's say, $1 million and the agent lists it for 600. In that case, you still get multiple offers, but the beauty is that is a mistake because it ends up selling somewhere around 800, right? So definitely this August is a good time to buy something. However, it's not the best time to list a home. If you're thinking about listing your home, I'd say wait until September, maybe mid-September to October. Okay, so another quick question. Will Kitchener-Waterloo see more growth in terms of home prices because of the IT industry? Which area would you recommend to invest in? So it's hard to predict what's going to happen in the future, right? But definitely if we look at the data, we know that Waterloo region will definitely go up. And the reason for that is when we compare, for example, I like to compare Waterloo region, Guelph, Kitchener-Waterloo. When I compare that to Niagara region, these two areas are different. If you're looking at the data for Niagara, Niagara went up when prices were going up, but when it came to going down, it crashed much harder. And the reason for that is that commuting from Niagara to Toronto is nearly impossible. However, when you're in this area, when you're in Waterloo region, the commute to Toronto is possible. So because of that, when prices go down, we don't see much of a hit. The same thing applies to London. A lot of investors were going to London. However, because London is too far, when prices start correcting, London saw one of the larger corrections in Ontario. Why? Because it's too far, right? So I definitely say if you're thinking about investing in Ontario, I would say start looking at areas around GTA. GTA itself is so expensive, such that even you don't get the cash flow that you're looking for. So definitely I don't invest in GTA. We used to have a home in Toronto, but we sold. But then, you know, when you're looking at the numbers for Kitchener-Waterloo area, Guelph, they make more sense than being in areas that are further away from the GTA. Another thing too that's exciting is the transportation, right? Like Metrolinx has been talking about increasing the frequency of the trains and the buses to and from Toronto. I think that will also help our prices. So to answer your question, it's hard to predict what prices will do. But if I look back and look at what the data is saying, I definitely do believe that prices will continue going up. If I was to pick a region, which one would I choose? The truth is, if I'm looking at data, and it's not just this data that I'm looking at everything else. I personally, and I say personally, I would choose Guelph over Waterloo. And the only reason is a lot of the time when we're looking at data, Guelph does better statistically than Waterloo. And I know that most people will argue this, but again, we're just following the data. Like if you look at here, for example, let me just go back to the previous slide. Oh, where did the data go? So if you're looking at the data, you'll see that Guelph had a 9% increase year over year, and Waterloo had a 6.4%. So, 9% versus 6%, that tells you something, So I would say that there's a lot more criteria to look at. So I'm not going to give a direct answer because it also depends on your situation. Where do you live? If you live in Guelph, definitely invest here. If you live in Kitchener-Waterloo, invest there because it's much easier to manage a property when you live there. However, if you live in GTA, I'd say wherever you're able to find the best deal, invest there. Personally, I like Guelph, but I also have properties in Kitchener-Waterloo. So that's why it's hard for me to say, because in most cases, I'll go where the deal is. If I was looking at this region, I'll just look at the whole region as one region, and I'll be looking at homes, and wherever I get the best deal, I'll go there. That's basically how I've been operating lately. Next question. So we have 6 more minutes. If you have questions, please post them, because I know that I might not be able to go through all the questions, but that's okay. However, if you have a question that's live, I will answer that question and I'll get to these on a one-on-one basis because I know the people who submitted them ahead of time. I have 2 children in school. Which area would you suggest for best schools, Kitchener-Waterloo or Guelph? The truth is, when you're looking at schools, both regions have great schools. Like here, in Guelph, we have the best schools, but I also know that Waterloo region, because I also live there, Waterloo has some of the good schools. If you're talking French schools, I actually prefer the French schools in Waterloo than those that are here. The truth is, it just depends on what kind of school you want for your children. If you want, elite schools, private schools, French schools, all of that, the truth is both regions have good schools. We would have to just look at specifically what you're looking for and then picking a school that matches that criteria. But the truth is both cities are good. Next question is, I am a first-time home buyer with a preschooler and a budget of $750. I'm looking for a freehold home. What areas would you suggest in Guelph? First-time home buyer, you have a preschooler, so you definitely need to be close to the school, budget of $750, and looking for a freehold home. So this is a very specific question. I would say connect with me. Maybe we can look at your situation and I can make a better recommendation. However, based on the data you've given me, you will not be able to find a detached home for $750 in the South End. So we would then start looking at some of the bungalows, because $750 for a detached home or freehold home is pretty tight. It doesn't mean it can't be done. I barely ever say it can't be done because I know that my job is to negotiate and get you a good deal. So if I can sense that I can get you a very, very good deal, I will definitely do that, but it's less likely to happen. So in that situation, I'd say you probably need to be in the East End of Guelph, and we probably need to find you like a bungalow, or maybe you can go into a freehold townhome. That's also an option, but that's very specific. I'd say let's connect and look at what's possible. Next question is, what do you think will happen to mortgage rates in 2024 and the impact to Guelph and Kitchener-Waterloo? So mortgage rates in 2024, I think, and this is my opinion, I think that rates will go down in 2024. Why? 2 reasons. 1, 2025 is an election year. I don't think that the politicians want to upset people in an election year. So I think that definitely come 2024, they will want to clean up this mess and they will want to be on good terms with people so people can go and vote for them. So that's one of the reasons why I think rates will come down. 2, we see that inflation is going down. Right now we're at 2.8%. The target is 2%. We came from 8% to now 2.8. So I think that we're pretty close to the finish line. And I think that come 2024, we'll start to see those rates come down. Another reason too is that a lot of people are struggling. Like, I don't know if I've talked about that but I talk to a lot of people, investors, just human beings in general. These rates, and some people too, we had a webinar, like, I like to talk truth, right? We had a webinar addressing this question, people who are struggling with mortgage payments, and it was such a busy webinar. There's a lot of people on it. And what I'm trying to say is, I don't think the rates we have or the situation we have right now is sustainable long term, because I don't think the government wants everybody to struggle, So because of that, I'm thinking rates will definitely come down. The situation will get better. It's not only people, it's also businesses. A lot of, like, for example, businesses with high debt, a lot of restaurants will be in that position. This cannot continue. Either two things will happen. One, all these people who are struggling will cut their spending, which is what the government wants. They want people to cut spending. And once we cut spending, which what I think it's already working, because now we're at 2.8% rate of inflation. So once we cut our spending, because we're struggling financially, then rates will come down because inflation will, that's what they want. That's what they're creating this so that we can react in this way. So I think definitely the environment we have right now is not sustainable. The reason I also talk about this is because I want people to know that if, let's say, the numbers are not working out, I've had sellers who want to sell because of this. You're not alone. I want people to know that you're not alone, at least, because I see and I talk to a lot of people, and I also speak to a lot of businesses. This cannot go on for too long. And that's why I think that something will change, something will get better. So I am thinking, based on that things will definitely get better, maybe towards mid to end of 2024, rates should come down. Okay, anyway, so we're right at 7:59, just the amount of time that I needed. I know that I have a few questions that I didn't get to, but that's okay, because I will connect with you one-on-one and I can answer those questions. If you're here and you would like to meet with me, please let me know. We'll send out a link that you can use, and this link is only for people who are on the webinar, so don't share it with other people, but you can book a one-on-one consultation with me and we can look at your specific situation. It's my gift to everybody who's here, So yeah, don't share the link with everybody, because I don't like to have so many things in my calendar. However, because you're here, you stayed for the whole hour, I would like to definitely, if you want to meet with me to talk about your buying situation, or just anything that you want to talk about real estate related, please let me know. We'll send out a link. You can book a one-on-one consultation in my calendar, and we'll sit and talk about your situation, and we'll see if we can find a solution, or if we can move you closer to your goal of owning a home this year or next year or whenever you're ready. Anyways, thank you very much for being here. This has been a pleasure, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a lovely evening. And again, for those questions I didn't get to, I will get to one-on-one. Thank you again, and take care.